Hello, Kiana Sage here from Being in Sync 366 video series. So excited for today's topic. I'm on a little bit earlier than I normally come on here, but that's because I have an appointment that I must go to. So I wanted to make sure I got on here to give this topic. For those of you who are new, my name is Kiana Sage and I guide people to peace. I do that through the alignment of the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual bodies. And when we understand that energy is always in alignment with the natural laws, when we learn about the natural laws, then we can align and become more in sync with inner congruence. That is our innermost authentic truth. And I did want to see, before I go any further, I wanted to see about the messages. Okay, I wanted to try something, and I'm going to wait for people to join on here before I go in. As I have been doing for the last couple weeks, I've been talking about different aspects of the laws, and I come and I bring different insights to help you apply the natural laws. So the law of cause and effect is what we're going to be talking about this week, and every day this week I will be bringing in that natural law and applying it to the topic that I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know the natural laws, well, this is a way that you can begin to get acquainted with the natural laws of how things work. So I'm going to wait a few more minutes for people to join in here. Good to see you here, Ganesh. What else did I want to say about? We've talked about the law of cycles last week. We talked about the law of correspondence, and I can't remember the law of attraction. Hey, Gur. This week we're going to talk about the law of cause and effect, and I'm going to be talking about that specifically in relationship to how we react. And I think it's going to tie in beautifully. Hey, Oliver, good to see you. Thank you for being here. Hi, Eric, good to see you here. Sending you lots of love. Hope your new home is coming together. Great. I am great. It's a Monday here. The sun is shining. It's a great day to be alive, right? Great day to be alive. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start with the topic of the law, the natural laws in relationship to the law of cause and effect. Now, all of the laws are always in operation. That's why so many people talk about the law of attraction, but it's only one piece of the puzzle. We have so many laws that all work in unification, right? And they're always in operation, not just in the physical, but the physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, in every single dimension, through every single chakra, every center of energy is running these laws. Now, if at any point one of those gets out of balance, you will see how things flow will change. So the law of cause and effect is essentially the understanding that your thoughts, your emotions, and your behaviors all create motion, and that motion creates cause and effect. So even though you may not even know what you're thinking, and there's a lot of people here that don't know what they're thinking or why they're thinking, they have still the consequences of cause and effect, because the law is always in action, always in action. So I wanted to give an example of this because we always have to take account, even though we don't know that we don't know, right? So the laws do not matter if you're ignorant of the laws. They still are relevant, and they create a frequency and a vibration, also known as resonance. Okay, so let's just say that you are somebody who has a tendency to abandon yourself. Maybe there's somebody in authority, whether it's at work or in the family dynamic, who has a strong authority presence, and you have been accustomed to deferring your authority and maybe even abandoning your own self, your own integrity, your own knowing, your own truth, so you can satisfy that of the other person, okay? This has an energetic consequence in cause and effect. So it will change the quality of energy in which you are vibrating. So you think that you're doing it to like satisfy them, but what you may not realize is that there is a consequence to that satisfaction, satisfying them and abandoning your own self. There is a massive consequence to that. So the power is always going to be in your conscious choice, right? Knowing what it is that you're doing and choosing to do and behave and react in ways that serve your personal integrity and serve you in relationship of the law of cause and effect. So the key, I think, here is to know which direction you want to be going, right? And oftentimes when people are abdicating their personal power to others in, let's just say, positional authority, whether it's your mother or your father or your boss, and you just kind of acquiesce, you're deferring and coming out of your alignment to do that. So you don't want to do that, right? No, you do not want to compromise your personal integrity, because that's what drives your direction, right? So you want to feed what you want to grow. It's a good adage to keep in mind. You might want to write that one down. Feed what you want to grow, because where your attention goes is where you will grow. I love it. I think it's super cute. Okay, so today I wanted to talk about reactions. And reactions could be run the gamut, but I'm going to just bring up some reactions that come up here the most. Anger, silence, avoidance, and acceptance. These are all different kinds of reactions, right? But they all are often running unconsciously. So people who tend to get angry know they're angry, and they say, you made me angry, or you made me feel sad, or you made me feel this. And that's really an unconscious aspect of you that's resonating with the person that's going to trigger that in you. Okay? So why is it unconscious? There could be many reasons. I'm not going to go into all the reasons, but part of that is the mask that people tend to wear when they're around other people. And oftentimes when I think about a mask, I did this event called The Voice of Your Soul, and I was teaching people about nonverbal communication. And in the teachings, we speak about the masks. And why are the masks there? The masks are there to protect. And why do people feel like they need to protect themselves? That is at the root of what is unconscious, right? And so you want to dive into those realms, so you bring them to your conscious awareness, so the unconscious is not directing your conscious life, right? So I'm hoping this makes sense. Another adage that I heard a lot in corporate America is never let them see you sweat, if you will. And that's a commercial for deodorant, but it also plays out in the corporate environments. It plays out in the family. We don't want them to see us cry. We don't want them to see us vulnerable. We don't want them to see us in what we are calling weak. But let me tell you, when you are hiding those emotions, they become hidden, and then they become buried, then they become concealed, then they become drivers of these emotions like anger, sadness, grief. And we think it's just grief because, let's just say, our parents died. But maybe it's not about them dying at all. Maybe it's that their death is triggering that we're not really living fully. And how much have we been not in our full expression for the need of putting on these masks? I don't know, just something to consider. And I thought I would give you another example that is really something that I see very often in corporate world, but it's also something that I feel has become socially acceptable coping mechanism. And that is this concept of controlling and perfectionism. And I think they're the same. You know, we got to control the environment because we like things done a particular way. But that type of energy, that social acceptance has deemed it like, okay, we can continue to operate off of that model of controlling. I got to control my emotions. First of all, your emotions are never meant to be controlled. They are only need to be acknowledged. But what the energy of controlling is and perfectionism is an access point into what's called a descending pocket of energy. Now, I don't think that most people that think that they're a perfectionist or controlling see it as a descending pocket. They see it more as a need or a requirement, or I just really, really, really like it this way. They're not looking at the elements of control that are dictating their behavior. Okay, so I want to go to this thing about controlling emotions, because let's just say you're in a corporate environment or in the office or at a family gathering and you feel emotional. And you don't want to be emotional, but you feel emotional. So what do you do in those situations? For me, I feel the emotion and I acknowledge it. But for most people, they suppress it and they don't ever go back and get it. And therefore, the emotion never actually gets processed appropriately. And when I say processed, I mean processed through your full acknowledgement 100%, because that's all emotions need, right? So if you are one of those people who is suppressing your emotions, you might also want to be aware of that is a way of using a mask. And you're pretending to be something that's false. And that can be very dangerous when you are trying to evolve into your most authentic self, because you will have places, I can only be my authentic self with this one person. Well, that is your rules, right? And those rules are keeping you small. And so that's really where you would want to look at where you are keeping yourself in a space of limitation, of constriction, okay? And I also want to say something about expressing, because a lot of people who have anger and anger issues usually think that the anger is a problem, but it's usually not the anger that's the problem. It's a lack of emotional maturity that could have been stunted for many reasons, but also it's a lack of awareness. Because when people are angry, let's just say somebody's fine and then somebody cuts them off on the freeway and they get upset. And so that car was a trigger. That trigger is not the cause of the anger. But a lot of people think that that's the cause of the anger, so they focus on the trigger. But the issue is really about the unresolved emotion of anger and the wounds beneath the anger. Okay, if you spam this chat, you will be deleted, period. Okay? So you don't need to do that. It's very distracting. Okay, so if you are focused on the trigger, you are missing the gift. The trigger is the gift that brings you closer in alignment to your inner self. As you begin to acknowledge your inner self, you can adjust in how you're reacting. So let's go to reactions. Reactions are expressions. If you are not consciously aware of your reactions that are limiting you, that might be a great place to start. Where am I reacting in a way that's limiting my expansion to my fullest extent? Okay, so I'm going to go to the questions and see what you have. What are your comments, thoughts, ideas about the law of cause and effect, now that we are really linking the two here? Because when you have a reaction, it's going to be linked to a thought, an emotion, or a behavior that needs to be addressed within yourself. Like, I really wanted to talk about lifestyle today, but it really is kind of related, kind of in a gentle way. I have a question, Edders. Okay, so if you have questions and it's about the topic, then go ahead and ask your question. If you have questions that are not about the topic, well then. Action is the opposite of reaction. I would say consciousness and conscious choice is actually the opposite of reaction, because you're consciously choosing. So just action in itself, no. Conscious action, conscious choice. And then we agree. How does the law of the land balance against the natural laws? Ooh, that's a really good question. There is no balance. Okay, so Jared, that's a great question. There is no balance, because the natural laws are how energy works. The laws of the land are from the mind of a small mind. Yes, I do believe that there is, like our Constitution, that was written from a higher level of consciousness, from the Constitution of the United States. But those are open to interpretation, right? And that would be that of the mind. But the laws of energy override all of the natural law, all of the laws of the land. And there was one person, I think it was, what was his name? Oh, I can't remember his name. What is that guy's name? Paul Selig. Many years ago, probably about 15 years ago, I saw him speak, and he talked about how the borders are man-made, and that the lands really they have their own ley lines that are different than what the borders might be. So those are all man-made, and those are not necessarily in alignment with the natural laws. Thank you, Eric. Good to see you here as always. Any questions about the topic today? Okay, anger elicited the best performance compared to joy, sadness, or neutrality. I don't know what you're saying there. I do think that anger can be leveraged. For sure. All of our emotions can be leveraged. I am one of those people that I could get angry, go from 0 to 100, express it, and then I'm not angry anymore. I don't have any problems like being in my emotional and acknowledging my emotions. Although I have learned to really leverage my anger, because that is a force of energy that, when directed appropriately, can be very cause a lot of momentum. Yes. Amal, I don't know what your question is here. Please say about true friendship. What do you attract what you are in alignment with, period. Family, friends, partnerships, marriages, extended family, like, you resonate with these things. So what do you say about true friendship? I would say look at what it is that you align with. And, there are people that call me a friend that aren't a friend to me. So does that mean that we're friends? Yeah, we're friends. I'm a friend to them. Are they there for me in the same way that I'm there for them? No. Does it need to be equal? No, there's a resonance, and I understand that, and I accept that, and I appreciate that, and I don't hold them to the same behaviors, if you will. Expectations. I thought I wrote about expectations today somehow. Okay. Any questions about reactions? Any questions about reactions and cause and effect? So basically, hey Mick, good to see you here. Basically, if you have a reaction, that's going to have a cause and effect. So you always want to make a conscious choice. Oh, Mick is saying he's listening, but he has software updates. Okay, Mick, thanks for checking in. True friendship is unconditional love. Well, that would depend on the person. That's very interesting how you're putting these ideas on there. But true friendship to you might be unconditional love, but a lot of people don't have the same qualifications for friendships. What is addition reaction? I don't know, Smiling. How do you mitigate explosive reactions? Why would you want to mitigate them, Oliver? Because sometimes that is what the situation is calling for. So why would you want to mitigate it? Because you don't like it? But why don't you go to the neutrality and acceptance? Because obviously if there's an explosive reaction, there's going to be a lack of acceptance there. You talk about energy which regulates everything we are involved in. My question is what directs it? Intention. Intention is the director. That is the director for everything. And conscious awareness, so making conscious choices. An intention would be a co-creation, if you will. Tanner. Mick. My anger used to be a force of nature all by itself. Yeah. I grew up in a family where it was very acceptable to express your anger. Very acceptable. Like, you get mad, you yell, you scream, you shut the door. You just do that. And it wasn't a bad thing. It was just a thing. And it wasn't who you were. It was just what it was. And then, I don't want to say the person's name, but I grew up with somebody else who was just really expressed what I would call a negative attitude, let's just say. And is that more acceptable than expressing anger? We accepted that attitude for that's how that person expressed. We are not there to change them, although there are tricks that you could do that help. Mick, anger is a powerful force. It's not a bad, this is the thing about emotions and reactions. This is not bad. What's bad is the judgment. Well, what's not helpful is the judgment. I don't want to say bad, but Smiling, I'm from California. Oh, Oliver's saying if somebody is too triggering. How could you be too triggering? Triggers are gifts. So what I'm hearing you say, Oliver, is that you do not want to deal with being and feeling the emotions that you have within you, that this gift is showing you. That's what I'm reading here, Oliver. And what I would say is that is an aspect that you are shutting down within yourself. And when you shut down and suppress those emotions, you are more easily triggered by those people who are bringing you a gift. It becomes heightened. Oh, thank you for my glasses, Lynn. What are the societal messages to provide society for health? What are the social messages, to provide society for health? A love, kindness, joy, acceptance, encouragement. Those would be a handful just to start off with that would bring health. I seem to cause negative reactions born of how my frustration or not being able to express my feelings or narrative. Well, you know, Jer, some of us are just meant to trigger others, you know, and so I'll say that. Some of us, that is, you know, I've been what's called a lightning rod since I was a little girl. Like, I know I make people uncomfortable. So I'm okay with that because I understand that the energy that I am expressing or that I share with others just by my presence in and of itself will trigger people to get real. That's like a gift. Not everybody loves the gift of being triggered. Going back to Oliver's thing. It seems to, so I want to go back to Jared, what you're saying. So negative isn't that's a judgment. So I seem to cause negative reactions because you're frustrated. But Jared, what would happen if you just felt your frustration in your body? Just do like a body scan and find the frustration and see it and witness it 100%. So do not leave that point of frustration in your body. So whether the frustration's in your shoulders or in your legs, wherever that is for you, go and find that point and you stay with it until it completely transmutes. It would be helpful to use your conscious breath. So you just breathe into that point with your breath. So you have your mind or your hand on that spot. And you just breathe into that spot until that frustration completely transmutes. And then when you're done, bring your attention into your heart, giving gratitude and appreciation. Because the frustration is only wanting to be acknowledged. And you think it's the story that needs to be acknowledged. And the story, having listened to somebody all last week tell one story after another story, after another story, after another story of trauma and drama, let me tell you this. Your stories are not nearly as important as how you're feeling. So don't get stuck on telling the stories. Let go of the story. Let go of the narrative. Feel the feeling. And you don't need to express all your feelings to people. This is the thing that people misunderstand. Like, you're expressing your feelings is not everybody else's responsibility. That's your job. Your job is to be in a full acknowledgement of your feelings. If my husband hurts my feelings, I will say my feelings are hurt. And then I go and I check in with my feelings. I don't expect him, although I did at one time, to feel my feelings. It just didn't work. It didn't work. So I feel my own feelings. And you know what? I feel a hell of a lot better. We have a lot less arguments because I feel my own feelings. Now, would it be nice to have people acknowledge your feelings? Sure. I feel like I'm shouting, so I'm moving the mic. This is a very exciting topic. Okay, Tanner, then what is the origin of intention? The origin of your intention is going to be in co-creation with your resonance or the energy in which you are directing. If you want to know what the energy is, which is what I think you're really wanting to know, what is that energy? That energy is called consciousness. And depending on how conscious and how aware you are will change the level of conscious co-creation that you have. When someone we love deeply hurts us, take time to pass thought and emotions into compassion and understanding. Transmute the anger into gold inner alchemy. Yeah, love it, Del. Beautifully stated. Thank you so much for this very conscious and highly compassionate awareness that you're sharing with everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comment. That is beautiful. One of my very favorites. She is so special. I'm very attracted to her. Okay. Leon is saying, I lost my grandmother. How can I forget the memories? Leon, are you suggesting that you want to erase your grandmother from your life so you don't feel pain? And that would mean that you have to erase all the learnings, all the love, all the grace, all the experiences that your soul was meant to have in communion with this person so that you can learn and evolve and grow. So although grief can be very overwhelming, I have found that when you are able to go into the learning of what do I need to learn from this experience with my grandmother, and you write down all the learnings, everything that you need to learn, that will help you leverage the grief into higher levels of consciousness and soul evolution. Thanks, Jax. I appreciate the compliment. Farid, your name and address, proof and testimonials. You could go to my website. I have 3 websites. And they all have testimonials from different experiences, different clients for different purposes. Oliver is saying, isn't it a good idea to take a break and reassess when you are highly triggered? I think it is a good idea to take a time out. It is a good idea to take a time out when you're triggered. Sure. But most people, when they take a time out, they tend to go into their head and ruminate. So what I would suggest is when you're taking your time out, that you go and get your lessons. What do I need to learn here? Not this person made me mad and angry. What is it that I'm missing that I need to learn? Where am I blocked? Where am I hurting or sad or triggered that is causing me to have such a strong reaction? I tend to shut down, and I don't believe in gifts from strange people. The tendency to shut down is not unusual, but what is shutting down? What are you shutting down? You're shutting down your authentic self. Why? And don't make it about other people because they didn't make you shut down. Why are you shutting down? Why are you constricting? Why are you going into suppression? What is happening there that you are shutting down? Because when you get triggered, the trigger is never the problem. The trigger is a gift. And people who are bringing gifts often bring something that's uncomfortable. Hello, Shetland. Love it, love it, love it. Talk is saying triggering needs to stop. Well, then you're not going to grow and expand because you will be triggered in your experience physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually for the rest of your life because the triggers don't stop, you evolve. Those are the options. You either grow, expand, and evolve consciously, or you shut down and and there are consequences. Going back to the law of cause and effect, there are consequences to shutting down. Hi, Rose. Good to see you here. Hello, Ireland. Love it. I love it. Ohas is saying, I'm very depressed and got scammed recently. I'm so sorry. That is very common. Very common. And there are lots of scammers out there, unfortunately. I'm so sorry for your loss, but know that you still have your conscious awareness and you can learn from this lesson. So I would suggest, because I know those issues of being scammed, because I've been scammed. I've been conned, unfortunately, and that's a resonance. So I would go in and learn all the lessons that you needed to learn to increase your conscious awareness so you make better decisions and better choices. And that will it'll make it better. Oh, I love that you guys, Passover math. I breathe into my lungs and trauma is saved by the Savior Jesus Christ. Beautiful. What is the meaning of negative chemo? I don't even know what that word is. I have not heard that. Chemotropism. I don't know, Winter. I'm just going to feel into that. I'm just going to go ahead and say that that would be a consciousness trap. I've never heard of that word before, but it feels like very much a consciousness trap. Who deleted my comment? So I'm going... I don't know. I didn't see your comment. It could be that I screwed up. I didn't delete it. You will always think of loved ones. Eric says. Hello, Poland. Oliver. Everyone, Kiana goes through the questions from the top to the bottom and eventually we'll get your questions. Oh, okay. I wonder if hi, hey Peter, good to see you here. Today we're talking about the law of cause and effect. I don't know how long, I thought I got through all the questions. Jer, I will try the breathing exercises over, do it now when you're not triggered, Jer. Please do it now when you're not triggered. You could still, that will, and then what I would challenge you, Jer, and I know I've challenged people on here before and they never came back. And I was so grateful that when I really spoke honestly to, now I forget his name on here, he came back anyways. But I know sometimes I challenge people and they don't like it. That's just one of my gifts, you know. So the breathing exercises, Jer, please do it when you're not triggered. Do it now. Find it in your body and breathe it all the way through. And do not stop until all of the frustration in all of your body is completely gone. Use your breath to do it. And then what I would also say is from after you've done that, just have your awareness up to track when you get frustrated so you can attend to it immediately. Because before you get frustrated, there will be a trigger. So you want to identify what the trigger is, okay? The more you are aware of the triggers, the more you can heal. Okay, it looks like I got through all the questions. Okay, well, my name is Kiana Sage and I guide people to peace. This topic has been all about introducing the law of cause and effect to you all, and also giving you a different perspective on how we address our reactions. The whole point of reactions is to become more consciously aware. We don't want to keep reacting in ways that cause us limitation, constriction. We want to expand into our most authentic self. Breathing through the left passage triggers divine feminine healing. Yes, Dell is giving some wisdom here. Beautiful. You can do the nostril breathing. That is very helpful, but I'm just trying to keep it simple for all y'all here. Valdra, you're saying, isn't it just similar to karmic laws? Well, karmic laws are different than cause and effect. And I would say that the karmic laws are in alignment to the natural laws. All right, so the idea of, I use the hidden emotions of control and perfectionism so that you all could look at the ways in which socially acceptable coping mechanisms have caused us to not really look deeper at how we are masking our authentic self. I love seeing you all are getting along in the chat here. It's awesome. So unless anybody has a question or a comment for me, I'm going to sign off. It's been fun. This has been a good topic. So my name is Kiana Sage. I come on here every day between usually 12 and 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I guide people to peace. Mick, that's who I said something yesterday or the other day, and you came back. You know, Mick, oftentimes I speak from my heart, and there are some people that never come back, so I'm glad you came back. I'm glad that you're doing okay, Peter and Mick. Being vulnerable is the only way to give yourself true love. Yes. Thanks, Jer. You think it's a bit highbrow? Thanks for your honesty. Okay, my name is Kiana Sage. Put on your notifications. I come on here every day, different topic. If there's a topic that you would like to hear, please go ahead and leave it on the comments on a video that's already posted so I could see what the topic is. And I will see you tomorrow. Namaste, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.